Eid Mubarak. Hello and welcome to Waste Breakfast. We'll talk about everything governance, mental health, self-development, and of course, entertainment. My name is Godspeed Israel, and I'm joined by my amazing co-anchor, Joy.
Hi.
Joy.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm okay. I'm alright. Please, what did you call that thing again?
I think it's Eid Mubarak.
Okay. Okay. Alright.
Did I pronounce it wrong?
I don't know. I mean, that's why I heard this. I had to ask again to learn because really, I've been really trying to learn how to pronounce that.
All of these things.
Some people call
we
it.
are not Arabics now, so I mean.
Well, yeah, I don't want to call it what it is.
I feel like there are people. I don't know how to put it now, but most people don't even know the right pronunciation, right? So I just hear from one person, this person is saying this, and then from another person, the person is pronouncing another time. Like, okay, you know what? Let me just get from this person. So
and sometimes it's quite confusing to even ask from Muslim faithfuls themselves because you hear one person pronounce something
and then you're
getting to another person to try to get a confirmation and you're hearing something else different.
Do you get?
And you're asking almost like 5 people and they're saying 5 different things. So
I'd
be like, okay,
I think you should just pick your own.
I know how to spell it.
Do you
but
get?
I cannot pronounce it.
So I think you should just
fine.
pick what works for you, literally. I mean, we are literally, at end point, I believe that all Muslims that just heard me now know what I'm talking about. So
at the end of
I've just passed information.
We wish you a happy what you're celebrating. I mean, I can't come and kill myself. I wish you a happy what you're celebrating.
Oh my God, seriously, I feel like the whole fasting for Nigerians here, it was successful. There was no bad news anyhow, except the fact that they didn't see the moon on time, that's why we had like an extra 1 day, what do they call that now, holiday, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, apart from that, I feel like everything went smooth. For those, there was no, anybody died because of one fasting or one person was having issues with health.
I mean, if it was when I was still in school, secondary school to be precise, I would pray every year that these guys don't get to see their moon because it extends the holiday.
Hey,
I don't get to go to school, but right now, please see your moon because whether you create or whether you extend the holiday or not, I am still back here. So I've been here since Tuesday. I was here on Tuesday. That's yesterday.
Yeah.
I'm here today. I'm gonna be here tomorrow, and I'm gonna be here as always. So whether you see your moon or not, I'm still here. So you might as well just cease. So we just move on with life.
Right.
But hey,
so,
speaking about that.
Okay.
Someone's looking dashing. Someone's looking giving.
I don't know what she's talking about.
So this month of April, you just decided that, okay, in the month of April, I'm going to give you guys April Fool. So what you're expecting is going to be like what you ordered versus what you didn't, what you're getting versus what you didn't order. Because the goddess you are seeing right now, she's giving us some London vibe.
I beg.
Okay. I didn't touch of brunette until.
Hey.
Okay, now.
I don't know really, but I just feel like I think I'm very particular when it comes to my beauty sometimes. I mean, I'm God's beauty, yes.
Oh, yeah.
I try as much as possible to live with that name. So there are certain times I'm coming up like, I'm tired of looking like this. Let's do something else, you know? I mean, I've been with the whole big dread and all of these things, and I'm like, let's put on a wig. And try last week I was carrying the whole world in my head. So yeah.
Do you understand? No. Oh yeah,
I was carrying the whole world in my head.
So I feel like it was Africa.
Yeah.
You just carried the entire African continent, and it was just I could look at you and say, okay, this is Nigeria, this is Cameroon, this is Ghana. Yeah, right.
And it's the same. Shebi is the same person that said, yeah, it's fine. Now she's insulting me.
But no, it was beautiful. But hey, like this particular one gives you a fresh version of your face.
Right.
So I'm seeing another version of girls. We say, I promise you, if I see you this morning, I will pass.
Right. So I mean, thank you so much, Joy. Thank you so much for all the flattery. In as much as I know that she's whining me, but it's okay. So yes, today's topic we'll be talking about mental wellness, breaking stigmas, and building strength. But before we even dive into that intriguing subject, let's take a moment to catch up on the latest headlines around the globe. Please stay with us. You're still watching Waste Breakfast. I'll be taking you on a captivating journey across Africa with the Punch, Nigeria's prime newspaper. The major headline read, Rising Naira Value, Presidency backs Cardoso, vows further clampdown on scarecrows. We have agencies will step up enforcement against racketeers to ensure Nigerians are not cheated, and this was said by the presidency. Tinubu financial engineer, expert stronger Naira in Q1 2025, spokesman tells Nigerians. Bottom of the newspaper, we have fire raises 14 Lagos market buildings, 4 structures collapse. Ondo, All Progressive Congress panel screens at Yedatiwa, Akinterinwa, 14 others Friday. Gunmen kill 5 in Benue, 17 victims get mass burial. Impeachment, Shalbu writes Chief Justice of Nigeria, that's the the CJN. All Progressive Congress members won against ex-deputy governor to return. Above the masthead, held air ferry, let's build Nigeria together. Tinubu governors, senators tells Nigerians. Falcons play goalless with South Africa. Qualify for Olympics. Dealers demand 850 naira per litre diesel as Dangote marketers meet. At the top right side of the masthead, Coastal Road Project not wasteful. Umayi slams Atiko. And that's all on the headline for the Punch newspaper. The headline that piqued my interest is the major headline as usual. That says, or that reads, rising naira value. Presidency back Cardoso vows for the clampdown on racketeers. Yeah, so the presidency on Tuesday said the concerted efforts of the governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, whose name goes Olayemi Cardoso, whose aim is to stabilize the naira, are linked with the president Bola Ahmed Tinubu. So that's what the paper is telling us today. Tinubu come out to say that what the efforts Olayemi Cardoso, that's the governor of Central Bank of Nigeria, what he has established so far in making the money stabilize is working and is something that he agrees on, right? So there are a whole lot of things. Cardoso's approach to this, to make sure that naira is stabilized and is strengthened, the value of naira is strengthened, he has a whole lot of approaches, and I'll just take a few. So it encompasses the unification of exchange rate windows. We have the clearance of forex backlog obligation for banks and airlines, implementation of a price verification system, imposition of limits on banks' net open opposition. Then we have the removal of daily cap of 2 billion naira on vulnerable standing deposit facility, and even down to the period of change segment. So they have a whole lot going on. So Tinubu just came out to literally just tell us that what Cardoso is doing in making sure that the value of naira is worked on, you know, and he's just coming out to say that, yes, I support this guy wholly. So, I mean, truthfully, I would say something is really working because, I mean, just last month, we're having naira going on to 1,900 say dollar, right? And now it's going back to 1,200. This is beautiful. Even the diesel we are speaking about, I think I was speaking about diesel about 2 weeks ago, where we are saying that Dangote now sells diesel for about 1,225 per dollar. Right now, it is 850 naira. I mean, this is beautiful. I like the fact that I'm coming out today to read good news to Nigerians. I love it. Joy, what do you have to say?
So, speaking about Nigeria and the fact that you say you're coming out to read good news to Nigerians.
It's like good news.
I mean, it would interest you to know that in as much as here we have good news,
yeah,
and we're happy with the good news that we're having, it would be, I mean, it's in my own little way, our own little way here on Ways Breakfast to sympathize with those who lost their properties during the fire outbreak yesterday that was in Lagos. I think it was in Dumota, that Lagos Island market that destroyed 4 structures, like 4 structures.
I thought we read something around this last month.
It wasn't. You're talking about last month. I'm telling you that recently, as of yesterday, there was a fire outbreak in Dumota, and it collapsed 4 good structures down.
14 Lagos
14 buildings, and then 4 structures were collapsed totally. I don't know, but I think this time around we need to deploy everything possible we can deploy. If you want to go spiritual, let's go spiritual. If you want to go, no, I know that, yeah, it's funny, but then again, let's look at it from another angle. Every year, almost every month, there's always fire outbreak in that axis, and it's beginning to call for a question.
Attention.
I mean, I'm beginning to beg a question around it. So, whatever approach you want to apply this time around, let's do it. I'm up for it that we should apply any approach. Do we want to go spiritual? Let's go spiritual. Do we want to go governmental? Let's go governmental. Do we want to go through policies.
Yeah.
And let's go through policies, because we can't keep having fire occurrence every year, and almost every time it's not a small fire outbreak. It's always huge and massive, that it tends to destroy a lot of things. And bear in mind that that's Lagos Island markets. That's one of the major markets in Lagos State. So that's a huge loss for people. So hey, I humbly and I respectfully sympathize with everybody that was a victim for this. Please accept my sympathy.
I agree with you. I think it's just overpopulation, and the government really needs to do something about
That's what I'm saying. If it's governmental solution we need, let's get it. If it's spiritual solution we need, and we need to understand why we keep having fire outbreak almost every year. There's no single year that passes and you don't get a year fire outbreak in that axis.
I agree.
So I don't know, whatever approach it is that we need, let's say. But hey, I'll be moving away from the Nigerian and African continent, and I'll be going to the international space. And tonight, I'm sorry, I say tonight, I feel like I'm sleeping. Oh, God.
Until wake up, I bet.
Okay, so this morning I will be reviewing the Guardian newspaper from the United Kingdom, and the major story reads that thousands of children are unsure of gender identity let down by NHS, that's the National Health Service. And right beneath that, I have ministers announce shoplifting crackdown. The picture right there states that a giant of particle phases has left us in the world, and it's so heartbreaking. The Nobel Prize winner, who is Peter Higgs, dies at 94 years, and that was yesterday. He left the surface of the earth. That's quite sad. Right next to that, I have E. coli levels pose risk to Paris 2024 triathlon. And the story I just want to quickly touch on is the story that reads thousands of children unsure of gender identity let down by the National Health Service. And the reason why I'm picking the story is because I went through all other newspapers on the international space, and I saw that this made a major headline. It was the major story, the top story on all the newspapers. And the story reads that thousands of vulnerable children questioning their gender identity have been let down by the National Health Service, providing unproven treatment, and by the toxicity of their trans debates. Now, the United Kingdom National Health Service Gender Identity Development Service use puberty blockers and cross-sex hormones, which masculinism or feminism feminist people appear, despite remarkable weak evidence that they provide or that they improve the well-being of young people and concern that they may harm health. Now, it's interesting to find out that I don't know, I don't want to go from an angle where I'm trying to come from. I'm trying to remove myself from the angle I want to come from this morning. But it's, if you're literally saying that people are literally liberal to choose the identity they want to resonate themselves with, and they come to you to tell you, help me find my identity, and you're using things that are already unsure. Now, imagine that, okay, let me use myself as a perfect example for this. Now, I don't know the identity or the gender I want to identify with. I am just unsure about it. And I go to a hospital, and I said, look at my body, and look at my hormones, look at my gene, look at my physical appearance. What gender do you think I should identify as? Because I don't think I want to identify by the identity that is generally known. And then you come and tell me, no, you need to identify as a female. And I said, no, I want to identify as a male because I feel I am a male person. And because of unproven tests and tests that are just not. So you see that the reason why I picked this story is to say, okay, at first we were looking at the NHS from the angle of it was governmental issues, it was governmental regulations, the nurses went on strike. But now let's come to the angle of they don't even know it feels like they don't know what they're doing. It feels.
Okay.
Feels in quotes like they do not know what they're doing, because I've read a story that they are giving unproven tests for cancers. There's a high risk of what you call it now, prostate cancer now because of them. And I mean, so many things have just been going wrong, and I'm now wondering, okay, what really is NHS doing to tackle this image? Because to me, I don't see this as a good public image. I feel like they're denting their image a lot, and it would not be nice that a national health sector, not a public one, sorry, not a private one at that, a national one that's in public sector, the health sector in the public space is having a bad image, then it's really going to tell a lot. Because number one, I don't think if I get to UK today, I want to go through any of the health services. Because I
mean,
can't read all of these stories.
Yeah.
And you think I get to United Kingdom today and I want to go through them? No, I'm not ready to risk my life.
I agree.
So I'd really appreciate if they can try to be intentional about doing better. So we read good stories about them to just kill all these bad public relations we're getting to see about them. I think it's just going to help a lot to them.
Yeah, I agree. So just like I've always said, there's a whole lot going on in the global world, to be sincere. So I'll just urge the governments of those countries to, fulfill their duties, their obligations and responsibilities. So yes, so we get on. Before we go on a short break, it's important to inform you that we're having a guest on the table ready to shake the table. Our amazing guest is no other person than Moses Ayenero. Please stay with us.
Realistically speaking, there's no way you tell me that somebody, somewhere, somehow doesn't have an inkling of what's going on. In those villages, okay, fine, we say, okay, there are rural areas and all. Does it mean that they do not have security? You mentioned something about, okay, how long will it take them to get there? The truth is that I don't think those people even exist. Like the law enforcement agencies, I don't think they even exist in those areas, because how far away is the forest that they've taken 200 people into? That first of all, you can't hear voices. You can't see footprints. Did they burrow holes? Are they rabbits? Did they pass through holes that were burrowed?
No evidence.
Do you not have the topography of the area? I mean,
as Nigerians, were desperately detached from the governance process and were suffering as a result of it. Nigerians need to be more interested in those numbers, because you see, if you open those documents, Miriam, you will cry, you will weep for this country. It's a travesty what happens, where projects are repeated year in, year out. For example, you say vehicles for a particular ministry, and you find that every year they're buying vehicles, and you wonder, are they recruiting new staff every year? The reason that we are not developing at the pace that we ought to develop, for example, is that we're under budgeting. We are now finding repetitions, copy and paste budget processes, and all of that. So this is really terrible. It's something that we've got to fight.
Thanks for staying with us. Yes, today we'll be discussing the topic mental awareness, breaking stigmas and building strength. Remember, you can join this conversation by either sending us an SMS or a WhatsApp message, or even calling. The numbers are displayed on the screen. So, yes, joining us now is Moses Ayenero, the CEO of Blue Room Care. He's an individual who is passionate about transforming how healthcare is assessed, experienced, and delivered around the world. Hi, Moses.
Hi, Moses.
Thanks for having me here.
Hey, you're always welcome. Oh my God. Did I tell you I like the way you sound? Your voice.
Oh my God.
I
I'm
do.
very flattered.
When I
No,
met
seriously.
Moses, so the funny thing is,
I'm
when I met
flattered.
Moses this morning and he
Yeah.
was trying to come down from his car, I was waiting for him to just come so I could walk him down to the studio.
Yeah.
I saw Moses stretching. I was like, okay.
We stressed you this
I
morning.
was like, okay,
No,
we
no,
really
no,
have
no.
a mental therapist here. So he had to prepare his mental
Do
health
you
to come
get?
and talk about mental health.
Oh my God.
Makes sense, but hey, welcome.
How was it
Moses.
like
Thank
coming
you,
to
thank
the
you.
coming to the studio?
Well, it was actually very straightforward.
Oh, okay.
And I was really happy that there was a public holiday, so there wasn't a lot of traffic. Like come here, so it was pretty smooth, right?
Yeah, the road
Very
in Lagos is literally empty.
Very, very
Wow.
empty.
People are
Did they travel or
people are
what?
utilizing public holiday now.
Everybody needs to take care of their mental health, my sister.
So I was trying to cross the express road, and I know that express road I'm trying to cross, I have to stand. If I see an empty space and I don't use it, the next time I'll see has to be like the next 1 minute, 30 seconds.
Mad.
By then, the next 5 seconds, I'm always seeing empty space. That's when I know that, okay, people are utilizing this public. A lot of people are in their house. Friend is not your mates.
True. I think that's another
The
thing.
fuel
because
price
of the-
is not your
yeah,
father's
Yeah,
mate, so
yeah.
don't worry. You
Yeah.
have to
I
maintain.
agree, I
And they're
agree.
trying to build on their mental wellness. You know, the mental health of Nigeria these days has been quite diminishing, which is
The
going to
economic
even make
system
me
is
ask
crazy.
you first, how are you dealing with Nigeria and how is your mental wellness going around?
I mean, being the CEO, literally, how's that?
as a
How's that
business
working?
owner. So I'm going to
How's that
come to that,
working?
but let's just, as
How's
an
that working?
individual, how do you cope with your mental health in Nigeria currently?
I mean, like I'll start with a paradox that being a mental health, working in the mental health field doesn't even isolate me from suffering from mental health. I mean,
Definitely.
like last year, I still had my episode when I was going through a breakfast.
Damn.
Are you here?
You breakfast. Oh, God. You were there.
Through breakfast just so you can be a guest on breakfast.
Damn.
So,
Okay.
so I mean, like I'm so that's very, very educated. Like I'm very self-aware, and I even coach people. I mean, especially when it comes to religion, you could, like that's what really affects us Gen Z. Mostly relationship breakfast or divorce really affects our mental health. And when I was going through that, I was like, guy, I'm the strongest person that maybe I ever know. And why is someone making me feel
Less of
like I'm
yourself.
not enough? Do you understand? So
Yes.
like that affected how I was working. So I noticed that I wasn't really putting in my all anymore. I was not sleeping. But the interesting part was that I began to isolate myself.
Okay.
So I wasn't reaching out to my friends anymore. I wasn't reaching out or just basically being myself, like being what I used to be. That's when, okay, something is wrong. So that's just what mental health is that state of physical, emotional, and social well-being that really enables you to that really enables you to provide or to be relevant to your society. And when you're able to do that to its fullest potential, then maybe you have a mental health problem.
Right.
Yeah.
So now, what are the effective coping mechanisms that we can adopt as Gen Zs? I mean, you just state the truth is, I feel like, apart from, let me say breakfast is one of it, right? One of the one of the reasons why at the end of the day we always have issues with our mental health. The economy system, Nigeria economic system, this country is one problem again that literally when you think about it, you start having a whole lot of issues around your mental health, right?
Yeah.
So now what are the coping mechanisms or self-care practice that we Gen Zs and other generations as well can, take?
Very, very simple. Number one, we need to separate real life from social media. I mean, we are so dwelled upon on social media. Like, we connect on social media. We say that we have 5,000 followers. Those 5,000 followers are not your friends. I'm
Do you
sorry.
get?
It's those people that are probably living around you, your circle, your probably a church or where you volunteer. That's really where you build connection. Even the Bible said that he did not create us to be alone. So we Gen Zs, we're trying to, I would say, change the cycle. and you cannot change the system. Like, you're trying to isolate yourself. You're trying to, okay, I would rather be friends with someone who's in America than someone like who lives in Janiki or like who lives in Kwaja. Like, we're just, you understand? So like, first of all, it's connect. Like we need to connect in. We are no longer connecting to each other. We're not performing to each other. I'll explain that.
Okay.
I'll explain that. When you go to social media, it's, you see a snapshot of someone's life. Someone gets promoted, someone gets married, but you don't see the backstory.
True.
So we build on that image that, okay, if my life is not as MJ's own, then I'm a failure. Then something's wrong with me. Then that creates mental health issues. That leads to anxiety, that leads to loneliness, that could even cause depression. But more importantly, mental health exists on the spectrum. So you can be feeling very, very, very sad, and you can be feeling sad. You can be feeling angry. You can be feeling like you're not enough, and you can be feeling very much like you're not enough. So it's a spectrum. So like, and that's what we do at Blue Room. Okay, we're trying to ensure that you don't go from the moderate mental health issues to the severe, because that's when you develop like
a problem.
The schizophrenia, this whole mental health issues that you might end up being in a psychiatric ward.
So speaking to, I like the fact that you came from a space of Gen Z's of recent do more of performance than connectivity. And that's because we tend to feel like we all want to dwell on the social media platforms, and that's where we feel life is all about. Life is just entirely about social media. And you know already there's this stigma out there. It's like a narrative, is a notion that states that, oh, Gen Zs are dumb, they're useless, they don't have a brain, all they know is tell them to do just 1 liter tax, and they're telling you, oh, my mental health is
at stake.
No, and I want to come from it from the angle of let's not live in denial of these things. In as much as, yes, I know that you need to do a lot of work, you need to put in a lot of hard work to make something come out. I mean, I'm coming from a place of, indeed, maybe we need to start to say that this hard work is disturbing my mental health. Because it will make Nigerians understand that we're suffering too hard unnecessarily. There's some hard work that you know is necessary, but there's some of them that are very, very unnecessary. So how do we try to, as Gen Zs now, who are intentional about, we are not just dumb, we are smart, intelligent, beautiful, and we're ready to do the work. Now, how do we change that narrative to say Gen Zs are not just about, my mental health is distorted? Because truly, there are mental health problems. But now they've categorized it to be that it's just a Gen Z tagline. So when you literally get to say Gen Z that is suffering it, you will not want to know, or you will not care to know. So how do we start to change that narrative?
I'm not sure I got the question.
So how do we change the narrative of Gen Alphas, generation of what?
The boomers.
The boomers.
Baby boomers.
Yeah, so every one of them who is not a Gen Z think that Gen Z is all about mental health. They just go around ranting, singing mental health, and they feel like it's just Gen Z using that tagline as a form of avoiding work and just being lazy.
Oh, okay.
So how do we start to change that narrative?
Okay, okay. First of all, I believe that you cannot really control how people see you.
And that's the truth.
What you can control is how you respond to those people or those people's opinion. So when someone already has a bias or already has a mindset that all Gen Zs are lazy, what they hear, like what they complain about is mental health. I'll give you an instance. So like last 2 years I was at the CIPM conference, and I mean that's the regulatory body of HRs. And the interesting topic that everyone was talking about is Gen Z and always saying mental health. And it's with my mental health. And it's with my mental health. So I think it's a reflection of the gap of understanding. So there's that poor understanding that, okay, this is what mental health is. This is mental illness. So what people are talking about mental is mostly mental illness.
So there's mental health and there's mental illness.
Exactly.
Yeah. So for me, because they were not really educated, and also that these people still experience mental health issues, but they are not aware that
this is mental health issues.
But because we are more aware, and the world is more advanced. That's why we are able to label it. But they are like, okay, like my mom went through this, like I went through this, like why can't you go through this also?
Right.
But we like, no, this is wrong. This is wrong. So we really cannot change how they see us, but we constantly need to educate them. Okay, it is okay that you're saying this, but this is really what it means if I'm feeling sad or if I'm feeling burnt out. This is what I would like to do. I need time, or probably I need to seek support. Do you have resources that I could probably go to? Not that you'll be labeling me and saying that I'm lazy or I have issues or I'm just not enough at work.
So bringing you back to what you said earlier about the mental health illness, and would you give us like probably a more good explanation of what the differences are? Because we might know, but trust me when I say other people watching might still not know. So
okay, a very good example. So when you're probably driving around and you see this madman, so that's a representation of mental illness. Like this person has probably schizophrenia or bipolar disorder. But mind you, like you could also have madmen in America, but it's probably because they weren't exposed to treatment options. So like that's really what brought them there. But like those people can actually be treated, which brings us back to the spirituality part. But like we won't really dwell on that. So like that's mental illness. But what mental health is, okay, I'm not able to focus on my work right now. I'm not able to be my 100% in this relationship, or I'm going through a career transition and I'm feeling stressed out. That's mental health. It's that state of the physical, emotional, and mental well-being.
Beautiful. We'll be going on a short break, guys. I mean, I feel like I've learned a whole lot just for the few things that has been said. We'll go on a short break, and when we come back, I feel like Joy has a whole lot to pour down. Please stay with us. You're still watching Waste Breakfast. If just tuning in, we're discussing on a very interesting subject, mental wellness, breaking stigmas and building strength. Joe, kill us.
My name is Joy. It's not Joy. Please don't disturb my mental name. My mental name.
Shall you see the problem?
Yes, my mental name.
Joy, I think Joy is one of the problems.
Yes, she's disturbing my mental name. My name has a mental state.
Hey!
My mother was not hearing that. When I give birth to her, name is Joy.
I am Joy.
Exactly. Now you come here. Thank you.
Oh my God.
But anyways, let's try to move the conversation right now from breaking stigmas and let's come to the path of building strength.
Yeah.
And I want to ask a question around resilience and coping mechanisms. And I like the fact that you mentioned, or you chip into us that last month, or was it last month you said, last year?
Last year.
Yeah, you left to breakfast to come on the breakfast show.
Right.
And I was going through Instagram and I saw this video of this lady that she was literally on the altar with a guy. Because she's about to cry. Because when we saw it this morning, I was thrown aback. I said, okay, you know what? Since we're talking about mental wellness, it's good I saw it. So it would be nice to have a conversation around it, because relationship is one thing that has really been a major factor to mental illness and wellness or mental health problems for Gen Zs and the rest of life. So this is dating was already at the altar with the guy.
Chai.
Guess what? Baba has finished reading all the vows.
Just say yes,
just
I do.
to say yes, I do. And he was like, you're the most beautiful person. I can't say thank you enough for how far you've brought me.
What kind of heartbreak message is that?
Wait now. So the guy was all nice and good. And the next thing we were just waiting to hear is, yes, I do. And the next thing I said, the next thing I heard is, I'm sorry, but I don't think I can do this.
Like,
depression.
Let's do it. No, I know. Do you understand? So you have not seen the video. So the first thing that's going to come to your mindset is that the lady is going to be thrown into depression. But the tables were turned around.
Guess what?
Now the lady she shed a tear.
Definitely.
She said, see, don't do this, please. And the guy is saying, I'm sorry, I cannot do this. I don't think I can go ahead with this marriage. And she left his hand. Told her bridesmaid, girls, are you ready?
Let's go,
yes. She stood up. She left. She didn't fall down there. She didn't say, oh, my village people do this and that.
Without behaving like a Nigerian.
You could see that this person was going through a lot of emotion. You know that moment when the emotions are just impromptu and hitting you hard. So I want to believe that this is somebody that has trained herself a lot of times in resilience, and that's why she was able to deal with the situation maturely. Because really, if I see that leader, I like to sit down and have a conversation, more like a one-on-one session. So please, I need to learn from you, because no, that kind of resilience was so hard. So how do you speak on, or what are the mechanisms you think we could deploy to build resilience and to build strength? Because hardship and troubled times will come, especially when you are in this land. You know, the land,
this great country,
in this great giant of Africa, that going to give you a lot of problems and a lot of trouble. So how do we build resilience so that when we are saying there's a problem, people understand that there's a problem and not say that we are just being lazy, and that's why we are saying my mental health. So how do we build resilience and coping mechanisms against mental health problems?
You know, building back on your story, you said that the bride looked back at the
bridal train,
bridal train, and said, ladies, let's go. So that's the answer, having a support system.
Number one.
Having a strong support system, like having that safety net, having that, because the truth of the matter is that life is hard.
Definitely.
Life can be very hard, and what we Gen Z are trying to do is to do life alone. You cannot do life alone. You really cannot do life alone. You need a support system, and that is really where we have to be more aware. We Gen Zers, if we probably hit a rock in any friendship or relationship, they quit. So like, we are the best quitters, and that's the problem. You cannot quit on people easily. Very recently, I was talking to like one of my friends, and she has been friends with this girl for years, and I'm not sure what really transpired between them, but like they just fell out. I'm like, okay, is this something that can be repaired? And you're like, no, I don't think so. Now, like when you keep jumping out of hard situations like that, you don't have any friends left.
I agree.
And that's why the rate of divorce is very high, and we are very lonely. We are depressed. It's because we don't have a strong support system. So that's really how to build resilience, having a support system. Like, no matter how many books you read, even when you even like get to the very, very like realize your fullest potential, like who are you going to spend your money with? Like the likes of Davido, and I really like to use Davido as a very good example. Like, life has happened to that guy. Life has happened to him, but if you zoom in into this guy's personality, he has people around him, like people that has been with him for years.
I agree.
And that's really how he could bounce back. Whether it's the death of his son or his saga, he's able to bounce back because there's very good foundation.
Yeah. I think his family is even one of the like good support system he has.
Basic support.
Yeah, so like having a support system is really one of the first areas that you can build resilience. Like when it comes to mental health challenges, because they will come.
Oh my choke. Joy, you will come. Oh my God.
Because really, speaking about support system, I'll come from a practical example. So I remember vividly when I was a very little girl and really I didn't have anybody to speak to. So I had a serious problem that I was scared of speaking to my parents about it a bit. And that was because of, I felt like I had strict parents. It's now I come to understand that I didn't have strict parents. I just had parents who were disciplined and they were just all about you doing the right thing.
It depends on the boundaries, actually.
Yeah, it happens. You know, at times as children, we don't get to understand some of these things, right? We don't get to understand them. It's until you grow older, you begin to understand that, oh, yeah, it was for my good and not for my detriment that these things happen. And I went through that whole situation up till I think it was last year I started talking about it, and this thing had killed, when I mean kill, has killed me to the point that it killed a part of my life. And it wouldn't have been that bad if I had people I could talk to, but because I trusted nobody and I felt I didn't have anybody to speak to, there was nobody in my space at that moment I could share the problem with. At that time it happened, so it really, really ruined a lot of things for me. And I could say that right now I kind of I'm a bit suffering from it because a part of my life right now has been destroyed. I don't want to use the word destroyed.
I feel like destroyed is a big word.
But no, somehow I feel like it's destroyed, but I feel like there's nothing that cannot be
since you can't get it back.
You can always work around it. If you're intentional and you're ready to do the work, I always believe that you can always work around things and get it back to normal. It might just be a huge impact, but then again, it can always work. So I'd agree so much with the whole support system, because it was when I started now that I'm beginning to get people into my space that I could just, I want to talk. Right. They're like, okay, you know what? I'm shutting down everything I'm doing. I just want to listen to you. So having those kind of people in your space really, really helps a lot to clear your head.
But what even situations where we don't have support system? Let me just say, probably because I grew up in a family where we are more like, let me use the word age mates, right? My parents are not strict. At the same time, they are not just like that. I mean, they're not neglectful. They are always there. They are very disciplined. Actually, my dad is a very disciplined personnel, but at the same time, he gives you this room to say what you want to say. So if I'm feeling this way, I'll literally go and meet him. Because, I mean, there are times where he wants to come around you and he wants to play. And it's that time I'm telling him, Papa, see this thing that you did, I don't like it. Why would you do this? No, you're not supposed to do this. It went down to my mom. There are times when I'm like, Mama, nah, that's not how we do things. Why are you behaving like it's something else? No, this is how it should go. You know, so I grew up with that kind of background, right? But I feel like just like she said, there are people that, what if they don't have this support system? What else can they fall back on? What's the steps or self-care steps that they can take as Gen Zs or other generations that they are, you know? So.
Wow. Okay. First of all, like if you say that, I'll say that you should probably create one.
Right. In the space of people you don't trust. You know, trust issues is one thing.
It's a
whole lot to have a support system and somebody you can trust to say, I could tell this person anything.
Right.
And I know that I'm safe.
That's the thing.
That is actually the biggest barrier to bringing people to your table. So
exactly.
It's trust. She has betrayed me before. That would really impact how you come to me, and that would tell on how I bring it faster. So like when I think about bringing people to my table or to the table, so I like to think about trust as a spectrum or trust as a window. So when someone comes to you, probably you're in your car, you don't wind out so fast. Like, okay, who are you and what do you want? So it's a process. Yeah. So what people think about trust is that, okay, it's binary. I trust you, and I don't trust you. No.
Okay.
Trust doesn't have to be in binary. Trust doesn't have to be in black and white. It's a spectrum. So you went, okay, who are you? How can I help you? Like, it takes time to know someone.
Yeah.
It even takes more time to be with someone.
I agree.
Right. So it's a process.
So let's even bring, just one quick thing before I tend to close my mouth because positivity is already eyeing me like,
I like the fact that she knows.
Stop it, but it would be very important, or it would be really nice to, let's talk about the workspace, that the work industry, and we know that now it's the labor force beginning to have a lot of Gen Zs and needs, because right now it's not more a situation of you graduate from school and you wait for 7 years before you get a job. Now, though there's no work and people feel like there's no work, but there's work, and a lot of times as you're leaving school, you're getting a job instantly and you're starting work. Having an idea, it's your first time having to work. And you're working with Gen X, and working with Gen Alphas.
And boomers.
And these are people that already have, and these are people that are already having the notion and narrative that, oh, Gen Z and mental health.
Don't worry, they are very, very lazy.
Just keep them one side. Now, how do we build strength in work areas, especially work that are quite tedious and can really drain your brain a lot, and you have to do a lot of thinking, especially for creative. Now, as you go outside now, probably my God's Tina is a music artist. She's just not ready to start. Probably next week.
I am not, though.
Joy, I'm not anchoring this show again. I want to go and produce my music, because that's where almost Gen Zs are going. So how do we build strength in those areas as creatives, as artisans, as talent heads? How do we build strength in the creative industry and the work industry also?
That's $1 million question. It's a very, very big question, but I would say that it starts with more about self-development. Like, if you know what you are, then you really do not need someone to belittle you or pull you down. So I believe that's really what most Gen Zs are like. We are very deep in our craft. Like, we are very deep in our craft. If we know something, we know it very well.
Period.
And that's like, you cannot be black and white. So like what most people want to be is on the fence. Like they want to be lukewarm. What would my workplace lose if I wasn't there? If you can't think of any reason, then you're probably complacent. And that's why they would always react the way they react. But if you're at the top of your game, like even if your mental health stories come on, like they'll probably like give you more leg room, or like more allowance.
I agree.
Yeah, so it's just been very deep. Like, what you know, just know it very, very well, that nobody can know it better than you. Then that's the best form of racism. Because even if they let you go, you have that confidence, and that's the thing. So in psychology, like, there's what we call the Maslow law of hierarchy. You have the psychological needs, you have the safety, you have the esteem, and you have probably the self-actualization. So you really cannot you really cannot advance to another need if you don't take care of the basic needs. So someone who doesn't have a house, someone who doesn't have food or clothing, you cannot tell the person about love and relationships. So it's when we satisfy those basic needs, okay, we can go to safety, security, and that's what I really love the story about the insecurity. So someone who is living in a war-torn zone, they will definitely develop mental health issues, and you cannot be talking about building a strong support system or relationship. So it's those different layers. So you have to satisfy one need to progress to the next.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like we've had a very wonderful conversation right here. I learned a whole lot. I mean, the difference between the mental illness and all of that. We spoke about the fact that we should know our craft as individuals, and seriously, having good support systems. So yes,
it was really a whole lot.
Yes, I know Joy has a whole lot, to be sincere. If I leave Joy, let's quickly go on a short break, guys, and when we come back, we'll be diving straight to the book review segment. Please stay with us. Thanks for staying with us. It's the book review segment. So yes, the book we're reviewing, I mean, we started since last week, right? Atomic Habits, authored by James Clear. So I'll be taking the chapter 4. I don't know why I'm always, but it's
what
fine.
Is doing.
Exactly. Do you know I almost said I'll be taking the something long? No. Oh my God. So yes, before now, Mosi said he has read the book. I love it. See, I actually like where people read, you know. I'm big on reading. So when I see people, and especially books that I've read, because I mean, I feel like there's some kind of books that, my kind of books are always a bit rare for other people to read. So when I see somebody, when I say, okay, Atomic Habits, for example, and I'm like, oh, I've read that book, and another person saying, yeah, I've read this, and I'm like, come on! I didn't know you're part of the gang. So yes, I'll be reading. We'll be talking about chapter 4, which says the man who didn't look right. So under the chapter 4, you know, James Clear talked about 4 laws: the clue, the crave, the reward, the response. Right. So under the chapter 4, we're talking about the first law, which is the cue. That's make it obvious. Yeah. Now under it, I mean, I literally just say elite because I feel like Joy has a whole lot to talk about.
Why am I having a whole lot?
You're having a whole lot.
He's having a lot.
She's in a lot. Oh my God. So yes, what the chapter 4 is talking about really, it just said you don't need to be aware of the cue before a habit to begin. You know, before now we spoke about what habit is, right? Once a particular event that you do continuously, it becomes a habit. It's something that you keep doing, right? So I think that was on Monday or so. Also, where we talked about the difference and how to take yourself away from bad habits into good habits, and how to stick to, you know, being in the good habit. That's making sure that wherever habits you're going for, you're aware of it. You have to be self-conscious of the kind of behavior that you're continually doing. So once you are aware of it, now you have to make sure also that it's something that you want for yourself, right? You have to find it attractive. If you're not finding it attractive, and you look at this behavior, and you're like, oh, okay, I like this because it works with my identity or the identity I'm looking up to. Then after that, you look at it and you're like, okay, you know what? Let me look for something that works for me. Remember the last time when we spoke about this, I said you cannot solve a problem if you don't even know what the problem is about. So if you look at the kind of behavior, the kind of events that you want for yourself, or the identity you're looking upward, and you're like, okay, this identity, I want to be like this. I want to be seen as a person that is hygienic and all of these things. Now, those habits that forms an hygienic person, you have to start putting it in control. Now you have to look for what works for you. It's not enough to look at something and say, okay, this looks good and let's see if it works. No, you have to make sure that this is working for you. And that's why I said you cannot solve a problem if you don't even know what the problem is about, right? So after you've checked on that, the next thing is now the reward. You have to now, after you've looked at it and you say, this is working for me, is this satisfying? Is this something that I want to work for? You know, so there are sometimes you will see some kind of identity and you're like, this is good, should I go for it? So after you've passed through all these stages that's under the first law, the second and the third, now going to the fourth law, which is the reward, you have to also look at it and be like, this is satisfying. If it's not satisfying for you or for the identity you're working for, you have to go back again to the book and start re-strategizing. So yes, that's all I have on my table. I feel like Joy has a lot.
I mean, a lot. So no matter the lot I am, it would be important to inform everyone that habits that reinforce your desired identity are usually good habits, and habits that that have a conflict with the desired identity you have are bad habits. And what I also was able to pick out from chapter 4 when I read the book Atomic Habits was that there's a habit, there's a scorecard you can create to build good habits and to break bad habits. Yeah. Right? So you can use the plus, the minus, and the equal. So that's the neutral side. Yeah. So when you list out all the things you do in a day, like just everything you do in a day, all the actions, activity, you slap someone, pen it down. You punch someone, pen it down. Or you were able to make your bed or lay your bed before you go out, pen it down. Or you came to work this morning, you prayed before you start your work, pen it down. So all of these habits you prelude out, look at it. Okay, this one I did, is it a good habit? You give a plus sign to it. Is it a bad habit? You give a minus sign to it. Is it a neutral habit? Something that is not, I just have to do it. I don't have a choice. I must just do it. Then you give it a neutral habit. That's an equal to sign. So by the time you do this, you create this scorecard. You'll be able to know that, okay, I have more of bad habits than good habits. Okay, my neutral habits are on point, or they are less point, or I have more of good habits than bad habits. So this will now help you to build yourself to say, okay, I want to have more of good habits. So this one that has a minus to it, how do I make it on a portrait form, and then it becomes a plus, and that's turning it into good habits. So with all of this, I'm sure we can.
Yes. I feel like we've literally spoken about a whole lot of things today, seriously. I mean, as we conclude this enriching dialogue, thank you so much to our guest. Thank you so much. Oh, Jesus Christ. Thank you so much, Moses, for coming. Yeah, yes, and my beautiful, handsome viewers out there, thank you so much for tuning in. I mean, today's conversation has truly been enlightening and delightful. Join us again tomorrow for another captivating journey, beaming with even more insight and entertainment. And don't forget to tune into Waste Prime at 8 p.m., where education and humor converge into an unforgettable experience. On behalf of myself and my beautiful body, it's goodbye for now. We eagerly anticipate our next interaction with you. Until then, keep seeking knowledge, nurturing your curiosity, staying inspired, and staying tuned. See you tomorrow. Bye.